The Democrat Party, if they didn't have AstroTurf, they'd have no turf at all. They're a giant pork, lying disinformation scandal paid for by stealing your tax dollars and lying to you. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel as we continue to expose the truth as we have for years. I hate being this right. Democrats are even, the only thing I was wrong about the Democrats is that I believed they were less of a liar than they are. Is the only way I've been proven wrong. Is they're more corrupt, more satanic, more anti-family, more fake. The entire media is a completely fake complex. Here's this is on Fox News, but it exposes how little coverage every mainstream network does on DOGE saving you money.
They're now learning just how much time the mainstream media news networks are spending on DOGE's budget cuts, and it doesn't amount to much at all. According to the Media Research Center, in just 16 days of coverage, ABC, CBS, and NBC spent a combined whopping 1 minute and 53 seconds citing specific dollar amounts that DOGE has claimed to save taxpayers. So it's no wonder White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had this to say about her job.
Unfortunately, the mainstream media has been blinded by this bias, this anti-Trump bias. And it's actually quite sad because rather than dealing with people who are truly interested in journalistic integrity and finding out the truths and the facts, they're coming into that room with a preconceived narrative and bias.
And Trace, the next hearing on the Associated Press's access to the White House is set for March 20th. So, of course, we'll be watching out for that and report back on what we hear.
Indeed. Ashley Strohmeyer live for us in New York. Ashley, thank you. Let's bring in the Daily News drop anchor Jeff Vaughn and the Federalist elections correspondent Brianna Lyman. Great to have you both. Brianna, to you first. I mean, Ashley kind of touched on this, but I want to put these up on the screen because it's kind of fascinating. Newsbusters censored is the headline, and it goes on to say here, ABC, CBS, NBC spend less than 2 minutes on DOGE taxpayer saving.
ABC spent zero seconds. You're not even a news network. ABC, NBC, CBS, the largest broadcasters. This is why the Trump administration is coming down on them, and the FCC is saying you should not get a broadcast license. They all have broadcast name, American Broadcast Network, ABC. CBS, I can't remember what the C stand for, Central Broadcasting Station, NBC something broadcasting. Anyways, the broadcasting is in the name. You have to get a license for it from the government. FCC chairman are going after them saying, you're no longer in the public. You're not helping the public. You're not presenting news. They should all lose their license. They should be private 501c3, just like TBN or some televangelist preaching their Democrat opinion. They should have to get their own donations from George Soros instead of taking it from the public grift.
It says in 16 days of coverage, February 8th to February 24th, ABC, CBS, NBC on their evening and morning shows spent a total of 1 minute 53 seconds citing specific dollar amounts that DOGE or President Donald Trump claimed to have saved the American taxpayer. So the strategy here is you get people all ginned up, right, Brianna? And then you don't offer any facts or any context.
I'd like to thank Newsbusters for that. Yeah, they're only regurgitating their own Democrat talking points. They lost, guys. They're out. The public isn't even interested in them anymore. They're not even trying to bring you anything true. They don't care about the truth. They despise the truth. Like the devil, he was a liar. He was a liar from the beginning. So's ABC, NBC, CBS. They have the charter. They have the mandate. The boilerplate mission of their network is the devil, to lie and deceive. But I get ahead of myself. Let's get to the Washington Beacon, because this is the best story ever. This is how all of the news, this is what I mean by all Democrat is fake. There's no such thing even as a Democrat Party. It's a giant lie. It's a giant puppet show. You know, Plato's shadows on the cave wall, and the people inside the cave think they're real people and it's just a puppet show. That is what the Democrat Party always said. That's what Christianity was. No, that's what the Democrat Party is. That's what all leftist media is. It's a giant lie. It's a giant puppet show put on the shadows of a cave by ignorant slaves that lives inside of it. Here's Washington Free Beacon. Red District DOGE protests cited as proof of broad Musk backlash, but they were organized by left-wing groups. So this was all astroturfing. None of it was organic. All of the protests, in one case, a former Dem County Board candidate and self-described political activist helped organize a viral demonstration in Georgia. When angry voters confronted Rep. Rich McCormick over DOGE at a town hall in Georgia Republicans' deep red district, the New York Times, Washington Post, and CBS News cited the scene as proof of emerging bipartisan backlash. Just notice that's CBS News. Oh man, I just lost my article. Why? Okay. CBS News cited the scene as proof of emerging bipartisan backlash over Elon Musk's effort to slash government spending. CBS, lying CBS, not even a news network, included a quote from one of the protest organizers, Maggie Goldman, describing her only as a McCormick constituent. Goldman does live in McCormick's district, though she's far from a concerned supporter of the two-term Republican, a self-described Democrat and political activist. Goldman did not respond to a request for comment. Coordinated volunteers for Pete Buttigieg presidential campaign in 2019 and 2020, according to her LinkedIn. Shortly after, she ran her local country commission as a Democrat seeking to enact a more inclusive policy agenda. When they say more inclusive policy agenda, they mean excluding. They mean excluding, anti-life, anti-family, pro-racist, pro-satanic. That's what it means. That's a translation, literally. Goldman has donated exclusively to Democrats and sent Kamala Harris' campaign more than $1,500 last year. According to campaign financiers, I sent more money to Trump than you did to Kamala Harris. So I have shown my loyalty better than you. On her Facebook page, she boasted of the national media attention the McCormick protests received, sharing screenshots of headlines alongside the caption, "We really were on fire." Yeah, on fire, burning donor money. You were not on fire. It was fake fire. In the case of Democrats, where there's smoke, there is not fire. They're just blowing smoke. So this is all fake spam put on by the Democrat Party, and we ought to laugh it out of polite discussion. This is all, I could go on with all this stuff. This is George Soros funded groups, Indivisible and MoveOn.org, where the center of the demonstrations. George Soros, foreign funding, communist, anti-God, anti-Christian, anti-Trump lunatic, George Soros billionaire. Where are the Democrats that are upset at the Elon Musk billionaires getting involved? And here's George Soros funding the entire demonstration. And then CBS News going in and not asking any tough questions, just repeating blah, 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 everything that George Soros pulls the strings, and CBS is the puppet that goes, "Yes, master, I will repeat what you say," and broadcast it on the public airwaves. What a bunch of spam. They're spammers. It's terrible. Okay. Let me see if I can get this article up on Washington Post. I can't. Washington Post has me blocked. Okay. Now, how deep does the corruption go? Here's the small business, Carrie Loeffler, on the empty offices that DOGE was trying to flush out. And this is what George Soros and Democrats are freaking out over on live TV. This is what NBC, CBS are trying to defend. 90% empty offices that your tax dollars are paying for. You go out and you do your dangerous building. You're an underwater scuba welder, the most dangerous job in the world. And you pay your taxes, and it's paying for empty office spaces. You are a volunteer, a publicist, or a marketing manager at the Special Olympics, and you work all day for special needs people working in sports, and you pay your taxes, and it goes to fund empty offices in Washington, D.C. that no one wants to use.
Well, Ainsley, I can tell you what it was like on Friday. It was like there were tumbleweeds blowing through the office. There were still tags left on desk chairs. And it was my first full day at the agency, and I was so excited to be able to meet people. And to not find anyone there was disappointing. To have 80% of the people back yesterday was amazing, to be able to shake hands. And what's happening is Americans are seeing that they have been paying for empty office buildings, for do-nothing bureaucrats. That ends now. We are going to get this federal government back to work thanks to President Trump's return to work order, and we can expect no less of this administration. We're going to work hard to do that every day.
Why would
Good. Get back to work, you filthy bums, you government bums. Your retirement is going to be better than anything I ever see. Your benefits package, your health care, the amount of hours I have to put in every week is nearly double yours. You filthy lowlife bums. You stuck on the American teat. And that's the good ones. That's the hardworking ones. I'm calling you a bum. Enjoy your benefits package. How much vacation time do you get every year? You know how much I get? 0. You bum. Go cry on someone else's shoulder. Some of us work for a living. My dad swung a hammer for Foster Farms, building chicken houses for 35 years. Never knew a day that he didn't break a sweat. Went out and worked his ass off, paid his taxes, making $35,000 a year. You filthy bum. You lowlife welfare public dole. Most of these government jobs should be cut. My dad's taxes paid for your salary. My taxes pay for your salary. My son, my 4 children who will work in the private sector will pay taxes and pay for your big, fat retirement as you sit there and watch TV all day and scroll on your phone and eat carbs and just get obese and just sit there in your easy chair. You get to retire at, what, 54 years old, 52 years old, 54, 58 maybe. I'm 58. My daughter's a nurse. She said, Dad, she's 23 years old, said, I just realized I will never be able to retire. I said, that's right, honey. That's me too. I'm a tenaple. I'm an artist. I will never be able to retire and live. And these filthy public bums who sat in, and now they're acting like it's a point of generosity. They're acting like this lady Loeffler, God bless her. You need a dress. Let's update your blouse from something beyond the 80s, please. But she's doing good work, making them come back to work, and they're acting like it's an act of charity. We have amazing reform. We're cutting budgets. You know what we're doing? We showed up at the office. I went to work in an office. Congratulations. It's like when a special needs kid learns to put a square block in a square hole and everyone act like he invented calculus. That's where you're at.
Was it important to you to get everyone back in the office? And what about the other 20% that were no-shows yesterday?
Well, first of all, Ainsley, I came out of the private sector where everyone shows up to work. I mean, the American people do not deserve an out-of-control bureaucracy that works from home, overregulates them, goes after their political enemies. They want to know that people are working for them. So we're absolutely going to get that other 20% back to work.
Why beg them to come back to work? Fire them. Kelly Loeffler. Get a spine. Fire them. Get them out. 20% won't come into the office. I would fire them so hard. In fact, I would frame them for racism. Just send them to human resources. Just go, we found all these people have a problem with racism. Just fire them across the board. I mean, they are Democrats after all.
Because we have been living under Joe Biden's America in which he encouraged people to work from home. I mean, this was a bureaucracy that was not working for the American people.
Yeah, that's normal. Joe Biden's America is Europe.
It was out of control and unaccountable, and we're going to restore that accountability. And of course, there's going to be resistance. But if you resist, I would suggest to people to start looking for another job.
Okay. All right. Any exceptions? Will you allow that?
Well, certainly there will be accommodations for the needed exceptions, but our focus is getting those that are able to be back to work right.
No exceptions. No, you know what? Lifetime. There's people that go through life and they always want to be the exception. I have ADD. I can't, I'm claustrophobic. I can't work in a hostile environment. My commute's too long. Hit the road, bum. Go hit the road. There's people that would die to have you who would do a hard day's work coming out of our military, retiring, coming out of retirement, working hard. They drove fruit trucks at 5 a.m. and drove fruit across town to a store. They'd love to sit in your cushy cubicle and sit back with their brand new computer and their little mouse and click and go to the water cooler. We get free bagels on Mondays. He'd be like, bagels? He'd see it as like when communist Russians in a bread line would get free food. He'd go, wait, I've never had a bagel in my life. When I drove truck and drove crap-filled diapers across town to the junkyard, I never got a bagel. He'd cherish his job. Yes, sir. How can I come to work harder, sir? Here's more on, this is the old ways. This is an old article, but I just want to remind you on how corrupt and evil the Barack Obama is. It is simply true that Obama's IRS illegally delisted their political enemies and got away scot-free for at least 12 years. Look at this article. It's a little small, so you might not be able to read it. IRS apologized. This is back in 2017. IRS apologizes for aggressive scrutiny of conservative groups. Oops, this is at NPR. This is back when the IRS admitted to going after conservative and Christian groups because they were under Obama. They thought that was their job. And there's enough of these people still at the IRS. The IRS should just be fired in principle. They should absolutely wipe out the IRS. Communists. In a legal settlement that still awaits federal judge's approval. Yeah, I'll bet they got a Democrat federal judge, so nothing happened to him. The IRS, quote, expresses its sincere apology, unquote, for mistreating a conservative organizations called linchpins of liberty, along with 40 other conservative groups in their application for tax-exempt status. North Cal, Tea Party Patriots, and 427 other groups. Oh, those numbers are getting bigger now. From 40 conservatives now up to 427 other groups. Suing the IRS also reached a substantial financial settlement with, I hope they got everything. I hope they got millions of dollars. You know, when the IRS comes to your house, breaks your door down, and puts a gun at your face, at your family's face, wakes you up at 4 a.m. and goes, IRS, open please. They get the big door breaker, that big giant metal I-beam looking thing, looks like a bazooka, boom, and they break your door down, point a gun at your face. You owe more than $500 in taxes, sir. You wrote off that vacation as business because you, over dinner, you spoke about business to one meal with your family. You can't justify their flights and their hotel room. You're under arrest with the IRS. I need backup. There's a Christian Catholic in here. Bring the zip ties and the waterboarding and the bear pepper spray. It's a Christian. Holy cow, it's a pro-life. Holy cow, it's a white evangelical. Bring the taser. Bring the attack dogs canine unit, please. Black conservative. Holy smokes, just throw him straight in prison. That's your IRS. Here's Byron Donalds for a moment of sanity explaining everything on the Mark Levin Show.
What we were supposed to have is a constitutional republic. What we have...
Yeah, whoops, what happened? Where's the constitutional republic at? Whoops. All the Republicans are going, we're Republican in name only. What the hell happened to our country? What happened to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? What happened to the first friggin' amendment, free speech?
Is a technocratic, expert, bureaucratic-driven government, really the design of Woodrow Wilson and the early progressives. This is the type of federal government they always wanted, one that would operate either in your face or in the shadows, regardless of politics. One where Congress was basically miniaturized and the federal bureaucracy was really made to be this labyrinth that nobody could understand.
Hey, if you want to know why Congress does nothing, Byron Donalds just nailed it. You can replay that quote. Congress has been minimized. The congressional power, 1/3 of your government, these are co-equal branches of government. Congress is supposed to be powerful. They make laws. They're supposed to make all the laws. We have the Supreme Court making laws with Roe v. Wade and Title IX. They invented law and said, oh, well, we found it in the Constitution. It should have been there. It's not actually there. Your right to privacy to get an abortion. It's not actually there, but we found it in right to privacy. That's what it means. Equal protection. So now a man can marry a man instead of a man and a woman. We found a law. We found a brand new law. Because the Congress will not do its job and write laws. Then you have the president. All these presidents going all the way back. Executive orders. You know what an executive order is? It's the president writing a law. It's only good for 4 years. But the Congress won't do their jobs. Now you have presidents writing laws. The Supreme Court writing laws. You know who isn't writing laws? The Congress. And it's their job. So Congress is shrinking. And this time they're not replaced with at least our three co-equal branches of government, one of our actual legal enumerated in the Constitution. We have the fourth branch of government, these unelected bureaucrats, giant pork, millions of jobs, trillions of dollars, stealing your tax dollars. They're running the government. A bunch of criminal, fake, lying Democrat. By the way, they give 95% of their donations Democrats. So this is all just money laundering. They get their money to do USAID and to go out and do welfare and to go out and do IRS. And they really are just laundering money to the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party, who has a message so progressive, so communist, so anti-human, that no one would support it if they weren't buoyed and buttressed by a redistribution of your wealth. It's criminal. This isn't a republic. This is why we laugh at Republicans and conservatives. I'm all, conserving what? Where's the Constitution? Where is the law? You guys tried to throw Trump in prison. You made a political opponent a felon. You don't have a country. That's why we're all laughing at you. And then when MAGA comes in and goes, we're a populist movement. We don't give a F about the law. We're going to make up everything. How about we run our lawnmower all over your lawn, just mow down all your weeds, your filthy lying weeds, okay? So they're just a cut government. Trump does not give a rat's ass what the Constitution says. He's going in and he's fixing America. He's going, you know what? I don't care what the Constitution says. If you're on welfare, if you're not working in an office, you go home, you're fired. I'll deal with the legal consequences later. I know what a courtroom looks like because the Democrats had me frickin' in a courtroom for 4 years. That's why he just goes, look, I'll get it done. We're going to get it done. Okay? Don't give me your laws. And the Republicans are going in and going, you're breaking the law. You're extrajudicial. Your presidential orders. You're right on the brink of the Constitution. Why are you calling people names, President Trump? You're the bad guy. No, he's coming in and fixing things, you moron. You erected a giant, the Death Star. You built the Death Star on the taxpayer dollars, and Trump is Luke Skywalker taking the X-Wing down that trench. And they're going, Luke, you turned off your monitor. He goes, I know what I'm doing. He turns it off because he's using the Force, not the law. You live by the law. He's living by the Spirit. He's using the Force, and he goes down that trench. He goes, this is just like when I used to shoot rats at Beggar's Canyon. And he shoots a little missile. It goes in the hole, boom, and the Death Star blows up. And the Republicans, they'll take a victory lap going, yeah, we were doing this all along. It's a great day for the Republic, for Republicans, for conservatives. We really beat the progressives. No, it took electing King Kong, Donald Trump. King Kong came and wrecked your downtown, just crushing, taking a taxi cab, picking it up and throwing it over his head and smashing it into a building. And you condemned him the whole time he did it.
And I think one of the key things about really demonstrated this is the presidency of Joe Biden. You had a president who was not running the place. The bureaucrats and the technocrats are running it. Congress was left outside of the entire window, getting no answers for the American people. And now you have the Democrats upset that Elon Musk is using the same powers that the progressives have been using for decades in our federal government. Because when you look at federal legislation today, Mark, everything is given to the discretion discretion of a specific secretary within the federal government. All the discretion is given to them. And so now that the Democrats are upset, it's because Donald Trump has empowered Elon Musk and his team to use that same discretion given to the federal government by the progressives to unwind the very Leviathan that they created.
That's right. We're going to hoist them up on their own petard. You just got shot with your own gun, you commie. I love these. I hope it's extra government. I hope Trump goes extra creative government on them, and the Democrats mourn. Not just Democrats, by the way. There's plenty of Republicans mourning too, like David French, fake Republican, right here, evangelical David French, evangelical right here in Franklin, Tennessee, he's a never Trumper. Said I could never vote for Trump because he would never support the Ukraine war, because David French, evangelical, Christian evangelical, wants more dead bodies between Russia and Ukraine. He wants a higher body count of 22-year-old men in the name of the Lord, of course. Jonah Goldberg, all of the guys at the Bulwark, all of the anti-Trumpers, John Podhoretz, National Review, all those guys are like, oh, don't break you as you're tearing down the satanic walls, as you're tearing down Babylon. My wine glass fell over and stained the carpet. You're paying for my carpet, Trump. You're evil. You knocked over my wine glass. But by the way, would you have any Grey Poupon? I'm Doug in exile.